This argument that the Republicans would win if not for the Libertarian Party is just not true.
In some elections, for sure, they
absolutely
have.
not true.
A couple of
didn't Jo Jorgensen didn't she have enough votes in a couple of the swing states last time?
Jo Jorgensen was woke leftist.
I understand, but she ran as a Libertarian candidate.
Yeah,
exactly. So in what world do woke leftists vote Republican when the Libertarian Party doesn't exist?
Oh, there you go.
I think the Libertarian Party needs to be a part of the Republican Party. Like it needs.
But the Libertarians don't like Republicans. This is the craziest thing to me. Like, you spend 10 minutes with a libertarian and you're like, these people are not Republicans. They will not vote Republican. Dude, you've got people, Austin Peterson is giving an interview and he says something about like, we don't want people selling heroin to children. And they go, boo, boo. They're not voting Republican.
But in the same vein, the Democratic Socialists of America are barely Democrats, but they're still Democrats, although they are socialists. And, you know, there's no consensus in the Democrat Party on a lot of the issues that they talk about. So just like they're a part of the Democrat Party, there needs to be
Libertarians are more mixed than that.
The Democratic Socialists are the Democrats' version of MAGA, right?
Let me tell you what Democratic Socialism is.
The Republican Party has the MAGA
Yes, because
elements.
the Bernie voters, when they were pissed about Bernie getting the election stolen from them in the primary in 2016, a lot of them went Trump.
Right. So 9 million Democrats voted for Trump.
Right. Democratic Socialists voted for Donald Trump. I mean,
MAGA, right populist, is the insurgent force in the Republican Party, and the Democratic Socialists are the insurgent force in the Democrat Party. Libertarians don't like either of them, and it is a mistake people make when they think if the Libertarian Party didn't exist, Republicans would win. Dude, there's a reason why Dave Smith is on Fox News ragging on Trump. Not going to vote for Trump. There's a reason why there is a Libertarian Party.
Because they're electorally immature is what I would say. That's why people like Dave Smith go on Fox News and rag on people like Trump.
He doesn't like Trump?
When you are, I know, but when it comes down to it, you really have to choose between Joe Biden and President Trump.
Libertarians are less Machiavellian, though. They're not willing to vote for a lesser of two evils.
Again, you don't understand Libertarians' views. Imagine this. Imagine saying, why aren't Democrats voting for Trump? Why aren't Democrats voting for Trump?
Because they think Trump's a fascist.
And this is why Libertarians don't want to vote for Trump.
But do they see a difference between Joe Biden and Donald Trump?
No.
That's wild. Okay, I think for people like...
It's like saying, why are Democrats voting for Joe Biden?
It's very counterintuitive, but I think he's right.
The reason why Trump wants to speak to the LP National is because he thinks there's now, I'm assuming with the Mises Caucus, there is enough, a small number that would be willing to vote for Trump. He may be able to move them. The majority of libertarians are not Republicans. Many of them are woke. Did you see what Louisiana's Libertarian Party posted? Guns for illegal immigrants? There's no way those people are voting for Republicans.
I think because libertarians can't see a difference between somebody like Joe Biden and Donald Trump is why these guys need to grow up. The whole party, the whole Libertarian Party needs to be abolished. If you can't see a difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, maybe that's why you guys are allergic to winning any elections.
But again, I don't think you understand, right?
I mean, that's because
they don't win any elections.
They don't. They're electorally irrelevant, and they just exist to kind of run their mouths because again, they don't have to appeal to people electorally, and they could just take a couple of points away from Republicans. It doesn't really matter.
Once again, Elad, they are not taking points away from Republicans. The idea that Jo Jorgensen, who said, quote, it is not enough to oppose racism. What did she say? It is not enough to be anti-racist. You must, I tried to.
It's not enough to oppose racism. You must be anti-racist.
You must be actively anti-racist.
Right.
Jo Jorgensen.
It's like even Rex
tweeted
Kendi shit.
But the Mises Caucus are the
literally
people who run
woke leftism.
The Mises Caucus is who's in charge of the
they
Libertarian
just
Party
took
now.
over.
Yeah.
And while many of them will have a sound, reasonable debate about Donald Trump and the things that they do agree with, that's like saying Republicans agree with Joe Biden on getting rid of ATM fees that screw over the working class.
Well, you got to get rid of those ATM fees when it comes out that your son took out $1.6 million in cash from ATMs. Did you see that today?
I agree. Right. I agree.
How much time and minutes would that take?
I agree with Joe Biden. Joe Biden said the bank charging people these junk fees are screwing over the working class.
Sure.
I will never vote for that man. And the idea that because Donald Trump is likely better on guns, libertarians who are concerned that Donald Trump increased drone strikes, removed the transparency from drone strikes, authorized commando raids in places like Yemen, backed the Saudis in their strikes in Yemen, which was 100,000 dead children in Yemen, the fact that Donald Trump fired 59 Tomahawk missiles into Syria, they will not vote for that. Now, that being said, I do think from a realist perspective, if you look at Trump's foreign policy holistically, it's the best foreign policy of my life. So yes, everything I said was true about Trump. What he did was we had the Abraham Accords. We had Donald Trump crossing into North Korea through the DMZ with no security detail in a sign of peace and goodwill with an enemy nation. That's the kind of stuff we need. That's leadership. The Abraham Accords, I think, were absolutely tremendous. Dave Smith disagrees. Dave Smith said that, and I hate to argue for him because he's not here and he could say it better, but he said the Abraham Accords isolated Palestine, Hamas, and put pressure on them, which was in the attack we saw on October 7th was inevitable because the Abraham Accords basically said, we have cut you out of negotiations. So this is the kind of pressure that results in. I do think that argument is silly because it's the idea of like we shouldn't negotiate peace because other people might get mad. But that his position is Trump did a bad thing there. I don't agree with that. People keep saying over and over again, if it weren't for the Libertarian Party, Republicans would win. And I'm like, it sounds like you've not met libertarians. The guy at a Libertarian convention, a guy ripped his clothes off and got naked on stage. Is that guy going to vote Republican? It's ridiculous. And the fact that you have woke libertarians, one of the guys running for the Libertarian Party president is super woke. Climate change, all that stuff. These people aren't going to vote for the Republicans. They all collectively just don't like Republicans or Democrats. And they have their own worldviews that are competing with each other. When you look at Jonathan Haidt's research on the moral foundations, you find that Democrats, this is what they claim, Democrats have care and fairness, Republicans are balanced across the board, and libertarians have one moral foundation. And you know what it is? Liberty. And that's disgusting. Liberty's fantastic, don't get me wrong. Take the moral foundations test, and I'll give you one of the questions pertaining to the Liberty moral foundation. People should be allowed to have adult toys modeled after their underage niece. It's one of the questions that they ask on the moral foundations test. Libertarians say yes. Are those people voting for Republicans? No. That you take the what is it like IDR Labs or whatever moral foundations test? That's one of the questions it asks.
It's a good question. It gets to the point.
It gets to the point of purity,
right?
Which is something conservatives believe in. It's related to cleanliness, avoiding disease. Liberals do not have that moral foundation. Libertarians do not have that moral foundation. Libertarians only care as long as there's no harm being done to a person, right. It's allowed.
As long as no one's rights are being violated.
And I'm kind of like, we should never
AI
allow
child porn.
a business
AI
to do
child
that.
porn would be an example, right? Libertarians just say you can make as much AI child porn as you want. It's not harming any real person. Conservatives would be like, ugh.
I think at the end of the day, because you are electorally irrelevant, you could have these purist positions on a lot of these issues and say, no, I
think it's
Joe
why
Biden
they're
isn't
kind of
anymore.
irrelevant. I agree with you.
All right, fair point. Then what your real argument is, disband the Libertarian Party and it goes 50-50 Democrat-Republican.
Best thing the Libertarian Party could do is disband the party and endorse Donald Trump. Yeah. What do you think Donald Trump should...
Why would woke leftists endorse Donald Trump? What don't you get?
Well, I agree it's the best thing they could do, but I don't think they ever would.
It's Dave Smith who's headlining
the Mises Caucus is
convention
right now, and in the convention that's coming up, one of the candidates is woke.
Yeah, but he's not popular within the party.
Their last candidate was woke.
Joe Jorgensen was
the
candidate.
The issue is, yes, the Mises Caucus took over right now. But if the Libertarian Party disbanded, what you're basically saying is the Mises Caucus should endorse Donald Trump. And then you're going to have a whole bunch of Mises Caucus people being like, but we don't support his foreign policy.
I don't think it would go down 50-50 if the Libertarian Party were to disband.
60-40, what?
But let me ask you, what do you think Donald Trump should say when he addresses the Libertarian convention to try to win them over?
I will, at the very least, secure the border, make sure your gun rights are intact, and this country exists.
So a lot of libertarians don't even believe in borders.
He will get booed by majority of people there. But Trump is simply trying to say, seeing the Mises Caucus take over means that there are enough people who might just say right now, I'm just going to vote for Trump. Because he's right about the border, he's right about guns, he's right about abortion. The Mises Caucus is different from the entirety of the Libertarian Party. And the important issue is the Mises Caucus victory is one iteration right now of the Libertarian Party. And I think it's likely because a lot of people don't like the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. And so they found a sort of moderate space in the Libertarian Party with the Mises Caucus, where they're not Republicans, they're not hardcore conservative traditionalists, but they don't like war, they want to have their guns, they want their Bitcoin and their marijuana. Donald Trump is going to try to win some of them over. And it's a smart move and he should do it. But keep in mind, the last election cycle, you had woke libertarians. The Libertarian Party was overwhelmingly woke, anti-racist. And everyone was like, whoa, this is crazy.
And there's a lot of infighting in the Libertarian Party constantly.
Absolutely.
I mean, the woke libertarians versus the hardcore capitalist libertarians. I mean, they can't agree on anything. It's like a family going through a divorce always.
But I just want to stress this point. Go hang out at a bar with someone from the Libertarian Party, and you're going to be like, now I get it. This guy's not a Republican. Like,
yeah. You driving home? Hell yeah, and I'm not wearing my seatbelt.
The guy took his clothes off on stage. They booed. They wanted to be able to sell heroin to kids. Not all of them. The Mises Caucus guys aren't like that. We like the Mises Caucus guys. But the Mises Caucus is also not traditionalist, and they're not going to be arguing for traditional families in the same way conservatives are. And so they're going to be at odds on social issues to a certain degree. But the Mises Caucus people typically are pro-life, pro-border, and pro-gun rights. So that's Trump's opportunity right now. He's not hoping to win over the Libertarian Party. I think Trump knows he's going to be booed. It's going to be wild. He's going to get booed by that crowd. But he's like, if I can get 5%, of the Libertarian Party, just that little bit that might agree with me, and I bet he might say something like, you don't like me, you don't like my policies, I got a lot of bad ones, but Joe Biden will rip your country to shreds, and at least with me to keep your country, and then fight another day.
You know, the fact that the Libertarian Party can get Trump and others to come and speak actually, in my opinion, shows the dormant power of the party. And the reason is, like, if you look at it from a logical standpoint, if the Libertarian Party got their shit together, they could choose to focus all of their efforts campaigning in just Texas, for example. And if they pulled enough support away from the Republican Party for the Libertarian Party that it could threaten the Electoral College just in Texas, so they focused all their monetary resources, all their time, all their advertising, they could literally whip the Republican Party into changing its policies in exchange for an endorsement. Like, if they just focused on Texas, they could change the entire Republican Party in a similar way that Bernie Sanders was able to change a lot of Hillary's policies in 2016 because he pulled so much of the vote from her in the primary.
Thanks for watching this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to check out the live show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on this channel. Subscribe and we'll see you all there.